Howdy, my name is Anne McCarthy. I'm a product wrangler at Automatic, and this video is dedicated to the WordPress Playground. At a high level, WordPress Playground makes it easy to spin up a WordPress site in your browser. The site that's created can then be as simple as a mostly empty site or a far more complex one with plugins, custom content, and more. If you haven't heard of WordPress Playground yet, or if you have and aren't sure how best to use it, this video is definitely for you. I personally think it's an incredibly useful and practical tool for just about everyone. Whether you're a plugin author or just someone trying to share your thoughts with WordPress. I've used it with some of my YouTube videos, with calls for testing, when trying to share insights with folks about new features. So let's dive in. And I actually thought it'd be fun for this presentation to show a feature of WordPress Playground. So I previously created a Playground setup to do this presentation. And I'm just gonna import this site and you'll see it transform. And you'll see now I can just hit go. And that brings me here, where I'll begin my presentation. And you can actually spin up this site yourself. Check out the links below, and you can see how I did this. It's just using group blocks with sticky positioning. So let's explore WordPress Playground. So what is it? At a high level, it's a tool that creates WordPress sites in your browser, ready to go and requiring zero management. Let's dig in a bit more though. And here are some FAQs. This is using the 2024 theme in the details block. So as mentioned, it's a tool that creates WordPress sites in your browser, and you might be thinking to yourself, okay, cool, so what? Why does this matter? It matters because it removes a lot of the headaches around hosting, domains, databases, when you might simply be trying to spin up a quick site to test or explore or follow along with a tutorial. Think of it as an endless supply of ready-to-go WordPress sites that you never have to worry about managing or even closing out again. On the flip side, as I write here, it's also a tool where you can provide throwaway sites for folks to explore a new feature, a plugin, or even a new version of WordPress itself, whether you're trying to explore something or want to encourage others to do so. It's definitely a tool that you can make your own to do both. So who creates WordPress Playground? The WordPress community runs and manages WordPress Playground. Adam Zielinski, a sponsor of WordPress Computer, created it. What are some use cases? There are a ton of use cases. These are some high-level ones, and I add little notes about who best fits that audience. You can create a local dev site with VS Studio Code extensions. You can preview pull requests in the Gutenberg repo. You can set up plugin previews for your plugin in the directory. You can try out new themes, plugins, WordPress versions. You can test themes, plugins, and WordPress versions. You can provide an interactive educational or building experience. So there's a cool little block that you can insert that I'll show later. You can set up a pre-built site for testing exploration when you want folks to follow along. So what are some important resources for learning more? There's the WordPress.org landing page. There's documentation. There's where you can try it out and get started. And then there's also a WordPress Playground block, which allows you to embed a WordPress Playground version in the page itself. So where can I give feedback? I do want to call out that this is a very early and active project in the WordPress community, and I say that because it means it's a great area to get involved and help shape with feedback. The folks behind this desperately want to hear from folks and want to hear what's going on and what would make your life easier, how you want to use it, what problems you're running into. I myself, in creating this video, have opened issues, so it's definitely something that folks want to hear from and want to make better. So with that in mind, let's check out some demos. I want to show you some of the ways I'm using it today, and you can consider using it in the future. So let's look at one example on the Museum of Block Art. So this is a side project that I run with a group of other folks who help review. It's all about creating art with blocks, which is pretty cool. So I actually added this in where you can create with WordPress Playground either by clicking here and getting started, which will open you up a link, or you can activate this live preview and it will automatically create in the browser a section where someone can start creating art right here, which is really neat. And so you can actually have someone create their art pieces here and then submit it below. So this is a recent thing I added, and this is using the WordPress Playground block to power this. So let's look behind the scenes and see what's going on. So if I head in here, scroll down, activate the live preview, you'll see that this is a block like any other. I installed it as a plugin on my site. And then from there, I set up specific things to make it look a certain way. So it automatically logs it in, it creates a new poster page. I can have a title of that poster page, and I had it set so it automatically redirects to that post. You'll see there's a lot of other things you can set up. including creating a new post or page, as well as like generating different things using JSON, which is a whole other setup. I definitely recommend digging into this if you want an interactive way for folks to explore a tutorial or something you want folks to follow along. Next up, I want to show how I review pull requests in GitHub for the Gutenberg project. So I'm going to pick on Rich here. This is a recent PR that caught my interest. It changes how the editable blocks in sync patterns, which is a new feature that's coming, is viewed. And so whenever we'll show what it looks like now, whenever you click on it, you should see this like background come into focus. So to test this, I copy the numbers at the end of this URL. And then I go to playground.wordpress.net /Gutenberg HTML, and then I just enter in the number. You can also enter in the full URL and hit go. And this spins up a WordPress Playground instance with this PR applied to it. So that way I can test this out myself and see what the experience is like, record a screenshot or a screen share of what I'm doing to use this PR. And it makes it really easy to give feedback. So I won't go through the whole experience of basically creating a pattern and going through and reviewing this PR, but I wanted to show this as a great example for folks who are trying to either contribute or stay up to date with what's happening in the project. And then once I'm done, all I have to do is just close out of it, and it's all closed out. As a final demo, let's go through what it would be like to help folks participate in testing. So let's pretend I'm creating a call for testing for a new feature that's a part of Gutenberg. I've done this a lot. You might want to do this if you're a meetup organizer or someone who is trying to educate others about new features. So what I'm going to do is show you how to use a neat little blueprint to create a setup where you can have different installations of the Gutenberg plugin. You can automatically log someone in, and you can set what WordPress and PHP versions you want to use. So all this does is it says land the person here. These are the versions that I would like to use. So 7.4 for PHP, 6.5 for WordPress. I can turn on, in this case, networking true to help install plugins, and as well as these steps. So log me in and activate the Gutenberg plugin. And all I have to do is actually copy this, come back over here, add a little pound right here, and then I'm going to paste that in directly. After doing so, this will spin up a Playground site with those things in mind. So it logged me in, brought me to the site editor, and installed Gutenberg. And so this would allow someone, for example, to get a look at what's going on with data views and the work being done here for manage all pages and some of the newer features that are coming in the future. And you can imagine, you can take this to an extreme. You can install more plugins. You can install different themes. You can have different landing pages and different setups for where you want folks to land, depending upon what you're asking them to do. So rather than dropping them in, go here, navigate here, you can make it a much more curated and fast experience. So let's end on some tips and tricks. So as a reminder, these are throwaway sites. I wouldn't recommend building production items in this unless you have a very set workflow where you will remember to regularly download the zip or export to GitHub. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there. I did want to call out ways you can quickly switch PHP and WordPress versions. So I definitely recommend playing around with these settings to get a feel for it. So you can see I can change this around here to whatever I'd like. Same here. So I really like using this to test WordPress nightly and see how things are going, especially during a release cycle, or if you're trying to get a sense of what's to come. You can also export and download here. So I definitely recommend trying out the import and export pull request to GitHub. I have used this. It's really clever, and there's a way that you can do it so that the pull request includes a link to the playground that you exported, allowing folks to explore as well. For installing plugins, you have to set up things a certain way. So let's just go look at this. If you go to plugins here and try to add one, you'll see that network access has to be enabled. So using the Blueprint API, which we showed earlier, you saw this was set to true. The same thing has to be done here, and you have to set it up here to route network access. This will then reset the site if I hit apply changes, but I wanted to call that out as well. I also wanted to mention that you can add parameters to the URL using the query API to install plugins or themes or both, or change PHP versions, WordPress versions, and I'll show that here. So for example, if I click this, this would install the CoBlocks This would install a pendant theme, and this could install both. And you can see how this can be mixed and matched and evolved more. This is all part of the Query API, which has its own set of documentation that I will not go into. Back to Playground. You'll also see that you can change around different storage types. I also recommend playing with this. Sometimes I'd like to save things stored in the browser, and what this does is when you're starting to build a site, it will actually save it a bit further, and then sometimes you need to. So for example, this brings up the demo site that I created at the beginning of this video, and if I want to reset that, which I'm happy to do because I've downloaded it, you can then just hit reset here and that'll clear it out. So that's a fun way to do if you're trying to have things stay a bit longer and you're messing with things a bit more. You can then export it and as you need to reset and continue from there. Finally, I did want to mention saving your site and downloading. So being able to download as zip is super helpful, and then you can just restore it from zip. So if you want to save something in progress, I've definitely used this frequently. So that's it. Thanks for watching. If you want to stay connected to me, I'm at Anzazu on WordPress.org Slack, or you can find me at nomad.blog. I have a contact form there, and I look forward to hearing from you. Leave any comments, ideas, or questions about WordPress Playground in the comments below, or better yet, chime in on the GitHub repo for the project and check it out at wordpress.org/playground.